All right, everybody. I thought I should be live. And you shouldn't be able to hear anything that is being said on the debate. And Liz Warren is answering a question saying she's read 442 pages. With the election 1 year away, why shouldn't voters decide Trump's fate instead of pursuing impeachment, is the question. She's saying we took a constitutional oath and nobody is above the law. Yeah, really. George Bush killed 1 million people. He was at the Dallas Cowboys the other day dancing with Ellen. Liz. Hi everyone. If you've just joined, that explains it all. I'll chat with you in the chat in a bit. I'm sure there's going to be lots and lots of adverts about Raytheon in the break for us to have a chat. Bernie says Trump is the most corrupt president ever. Probably. He says obstructing justice with Mueller. Mention of Ukraine now. Bernie, come on. Bernie's talking about if you just, I'm sure you can watch it on a corner of a screen and then listen to my commentary in a bit. Yeah, thanks, Robert. I'll speak to that in a bit. But Bernie's just said for Trump to withhold money from the Ukraine to do this, it was like whatever it was, whatever money it was. Acting as if it's outrageous for Trump to do that with Ukraine, asking for. Hillary Clinton did the same thing. The Democrats did the same thing to Donald Trump. Biden is corrupt, call that out as well. The hypocrisy of it. They literally forced Julian Assange out of the Ecuadorian embassy with a bribe of 4.2 billion from the IMF plus another 6 billion in interest. Is Biden corrupt president again? Wonderful. Yes. Okay. Trump's bad. Yeah, we get it. Is that it? Is that what this whole thing is going to be? How much we hate Trump? So the first question's about Trump. The second question's about impeachment. Here's Kamala Harris. He's committed crimes. This is wonderful. Robert, yeah, my back's hurting, mate. Thanks for asking. Yeah, my back's hurting. Very much. I was actually ready to go to bed in my pyjamas and I thought, yeah, I'm going to go live. And I forgot to put my brace thing on, so I might skip out in a second to put it on. Kamala Harris now saying is sold out of democracy. Next question, are you being fair to Trump by stating in advance that you would vote to remove him from office? So, first question is about Trump. Second question was about impeachment. Third question about Trump. Fourth question about Trump. I think we're seeing a pattern here, aren't we? They're all corrupt. You're exactly right, Robert. It's Cory Booker. Let's see if he'll answer this in Spanish. Can you be fair in an impeachment trial? So Trump, impeachment, Trump, impeachment. Okay, so the first section must be about Trump and impeachment then. I can't wait for them to get onto, how the media is all corrupt. I can't wait for them to get onto that section. I can't wait for them to talk about how their democracy is for sale to the highest bidder, whoever will pay the most for advertising and CNN's segments. I can't wait for them to get onto that section. Oh no, somebody will have to bring it up, won't they? This is why we shouldn't let a corporate news network run the fucking debate, says Plumdrum. I couldn't say that any clearer, mate, or louder. He's Amy Klobuchar. This woman is honestly the human equivalent of NyQuil. I think that's, yeah. She literally puts me to sleep. You're welcome, Silent Echo. Now you understand why 50% of American voters don't vote, says Peter Plant City. Anderson Cooper worth $100 million, asking the questions. Peter Plant City, you're absolutely right. That's why. I mean, they're the 50% that have got it right. Amy Klobuchar just talked about leaving the Kurds to slaughter. About Trump leaving the Kurds to slaughter. Amy, look at your history. Look at your country's foreign policy history. Look at the trail of devastation going back decades. It's not just Trump. It's every single president for the last 50 years. Don't blame it just on Trump. It's so nice them having this boogeyman for them to blame, isn't it? So wonderful them say, it's their fault. They facilitated it. Every president for the last 50 years have left a trail of destruction of, well, they'll arm one faction in the Middle East and then they'll just disband those, let them to slaughter and then arm the other side. There was even a situation not long ago where they were arming both sides in the conflict. What the... And then she's saying he's left the Kurds to slaughter. No, he's not. He's not left the Kurds to slaughter. He's gone back on a deal that the Americans had. That's what he's done. He's gone back on a deal that the Americans had. Just like the Americans go back on every deal that they have. Like they go back on the Paris Climate Agreement. Like they go back on the nuclear agreement, the JCPOA. Like they go back on the on the is it the INF treaty. Like they go back on the there's another one they pulled out of with George Bush. George Bush pulled out of it. Why do a deal with the devil when you know they're going to get back out of it? Amy Klobuchar is in a different... Honestly, she's living in cuckoo land. He's put it at Pete Buttigieg. He is to tell you that he's not a shit mayor. Used to have Quaaludes. Should have called them Amy's. Quaaludes. Wolf of Wall Street, wasn't it? Quaaludes. Another question on impeachment. Must be the first section. I missed the start of it, so. Unless they're going to talk about Trump and impeachment for the whole 3 hours. Tulsi. Impeachment is just going to divide an already divided country. He says, let the inquiry play its course out. Okay. That wasn't a bad answer, actually, Tulsi. I'm trying to be critical of it, but that's pretty good. She said, she said that it would further divide the country, which it would, because it's a partisan thing. Let's face it. You know, this is in retaliation for Trump going after the Bidens, and let's not forget, it's that corruption that's really the thing that's right out in the open here. They're all corrupt, though, all of them. There are no good guys in all of this. But as Tulsi said there, she said that not only would it divide the country further, but if the House, which is thought there is the votes to impeach, you need 2/3, I think. If the House votes to impeach and then the Senate just is locked, which it looks like it probably will be, then it further divides the country. So, and obviously, how long does that last? The impeachment, you know, there's an election next year. You know, it further divides the country going into an election, but then that was a good answer. He's Andrew Yang to tell everybody that he's going to give them $1,000. Going after Amazon? Okay. When we're talking about Donald Trump, we're losing. At least Andrew Yang's given a pretty good answer there, I think. He's better. He will speak in Spanish. But a judge. Judge. Not how you spell judge. He's like somebody's pulling his strings. Honestly, when Beto talks, watch him. He's like a. He's like somebody's controlling his arms. We can't not impeach him. He says we have to impeach him. Biden. Are you kidding me? He just said Trump has falsely pointed out your son is corrupt and has done this corrupt thing. Falsely. Anderson Cooper just said he has falsely. No, it wasn't false. It was true. God damn it, Anderson Cooper. What do you expect for somebody who interned at the CIA? He's literally just asked the question in a way that is the opposite of what the truth is. Please tell me in the chat that that's right. Okay, we did, yeah. He's been asked a question about his son's corruption, and he said, "I think it's important." Let me answer why it's important that we remove Trump. Foreign interference in our elections. So not only has the question been asked in a way that is totally false, but he hasn't answered the question and just decided to answer other questions instead. Falsely accused, David Bauer. Falsely accused. I'm sure he said falsely accused. That wasn't false. Biden. Biden said he's going after him because if he gets the nomination, he'll beat him like a drum again. Oh my God. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so Biden's basically just said he's gone after me because I'll beat him like a drum. First of all, if he went after you, Biden, and got you out of the race, he'd be doing you a goddamn favour, right? Because beat him like a drum. Oh, he then said his son's statement speaks for itself. He's proud of his son's statement, and honestly said the equivalent of "I am not a crook." Basically, he's done that. That was an absolute theatre. That question on Biden, and then Bernie was asked, jumped in. I think he might have been brought into it and said, "Well, let's talk about climate change instead." If this is what the Democrats have, if this is what the Democrats have to beat Trump, but he did discuss things with his son. Exactly, AJ Rivera. This is the okay. Now we're getting to for Medicare for all. For anybody who lives in America, just listen to me. From somebody who lives in the United Kingdom and has something that is just totally alien to you, healthcare. In the last debate, I promise you, if you go back and watch it, Joe Biden at one stage says, "Nobody says how much it's going to cost. Nobody says how much it's going to cost." This is the answer to that question. Whenever Joe Biden or somebody says, "Nobody says how much it's going to cost," say half, Joe. It's going to cost half as much as you pay now. And everybody's going to be covered. And you can still have your private health insurance and pay through the fucking nose if you want and get fluffy pillows and a private thing. But you'll still see your doctor at the first point of call. You'll still go to the hospital, the emergency room, for your first point of call if you have an emergency. But if you have to have an operation or something, you'll get better treatment, obviously, at a private health insurance. And you can pay for that over and above. But everybody pays half. The people at the top pay more because they earn the more. And it's done on a progressive scale. That is the way healthcare is done. Every other civilized planet every other civilized country on the planet does it, or a version of it. What you do isn't healthcare. What you do is care for pharmaceutical companies and their profits. That's what you do. You care for the stock market. You care for the people who will be advertising on CNN in this break. That's who you care for. You don't have a healthcare system. You have a system where you care for some people who make money and the rest of you can go and die in a fucking ditch. If anybody says, how much is it going to cost? Nobody said how much it's going to cost. Half. That's how much it's going to cost. Half. And everybody's covered to a basic level. If you get sick, you get taken care of. It's not perfect. It never is. But it's a damn sight better than having the number one cause of your bankruptcies be getting sick. The number one GoFundMe being raising money because you got sick. And 35 to 45,000 people dying every year because you would rather care about Pfizer and fucking Johnson & Johnson or wherever the fuck makes your drugs than you do about your own goddamn people. There's something you'll never, ever get told on CNN, and there's something that is 100% factually correct, which is why they're fucking fake news and I'm not. I'm going to wrap that up and put it in a video because I think that was pretty good. What do you reckon, everybody in the chat? I reckon that was pretty good. Clip that shit up good. I am watching... Which stream? I'm watching the Facebook stream. Oh, God, the people don't want the choice. Just talk... They're all going to talk bollocks now as to why we should keep profits going to the pharmaceutical companies and let people die. Liz Warren's got a version of it. Buttigieg has a version of it. You know, they all have a version of it, except one person, and that's Bernie Sanders. Your Medicare for all system is basically healthcare. That's it. Just expand it to everybody. Everybody pays in. Boom. Done. Thank you, guys. Plum Drum, Dante, I think it was. I'll clip that shit up. In the morning, I think. Here we go, Bernie. Healthcare. Let's be clear. Medicare for bill that I vote. Co-payment's gone. Overwhelming majority will save money on their healthcare. Absolutely correct. Like about 90%. Might be even more. Okay, Bernie's basically just made an absolutely 100% factual statement that they're all going to now say is bollocks. Liz Warren says costs will go down for middle class families. Is everybody going to be covered, Liz? Everyone? Really? Is it going to be something called single payer? Is it going to be a version of that? Or is it going to be Obamacare with a public option like the Germans do? Because your Obamacare actually would work if you did it like the Germans. Booty judge. Is that the way it's... Booty judge. I have been to the States, yes, B Green. In 2008, I was there when Obama was inaugurated. He won the election, rather, not inaugurated. Call in, Slow News Day. You got my Skype, haven't you? Call in. There is a guy on the ground. Cool. Yeah, I have got a guy on the ground who I'm trying to get in touch with because he's actually on at the debates now. I know, going international, transatlantic, and I think Andrew might actually be trying to. He might actually be able to get there, and we're hoping he might be able to get interviews with people, and certainly be able to give the lay of the land from the outside. So who knows? I saw something about it, Sebastian. I'll have to look into it more. It's honestly, as from from somebody from the UK, watching Americans talk about healthcare and debate healthcare is fucking incredible. Honestly, it's incredible. They are willfully ignorant. Willfully. Every single person on that stage who has answered the question so far, apart from Bernie, is willfully ignorant and fucking lying to every single one of you. I don't care whether you're Democrat, Republican, whatever. I don't. Every one of them on stage right now, apart from Bernie, is fucking willfully ignorant and lying to you, gaslighting you. They're saying, oh, we've got to reinvent the wheel. You haven't got to reinvent the wheel. It works perfectly well in every other country. Why don't they bring that up? Why don't they just say it works everywhere else? Let's just do. Should be, like there's what 150 democratic countries in the world. The rest of the dictatorships, of which I think it's something like that. Anyway, those figures might not be accurate, but should we do what See, everybody else seems to. Bahrain has healthcare. You know that Bahrain. Russia, healthcare. Hey, guys. Syria. Syria have healthcare. I know. You might get bombed by America, but they have healthcare. They need it. I'm sure Biden just said that if doing it that way, somebody earning 40 grand, their taxes will go up by 10 grand. Bernie, boom. The issue here is whether the Democratic Party has the guts to stand up to these motherfuckers that are raping our people and having them die in the streets. He didn't say it that way, but basically that's his rhetoric. Go on, Bernie. He nailed it. That was his wheelhouse. Kamala Harris brings up a good point about the women's rights. It's amazing. Honestly, it is amazing to me again from this side of the Atlantic watching Americans talk about healthcare and then change the conversation like Kamala Harris has just done to women's rights and healthcare. Fucking incredible. The Democrats there on the stage, basically, they're like Republicans almost, but in the reverse. So the Republicans will, I don't care about your healthcare, fuck you, die in the street. They don't care about human life like that. But if it's a fetus, then it's a little bit different. Yeah, no problem. We've got to look after that. And the Democrats are really, I'm not sure whether I said that right, actually. It might be really late. I think there's a better way for me to say that. Tulsi's on him. Zox Elix has just, Tulsi's only said about 5 words. It's mostly been Bernie, Biden, and Woman, and a bit of Klobuchar and Butty Judge. Booty Judge. I can't read the comments as well. AJ ever it's enough to with 3 screens trying to catch up. Yang, UBI baby. Sorry, everybody. I'm just trying to find out. I'm listening to Andrew Yang, but I'm also trying to. He's Cory Booker. But I'm also trying to get in touch with this person who's on the ground as well. You vote for me, I'll give you money. Robert Hickey says, yeah, it's Andrew Yang. Hmm. Hmm. I'm just going to refill my coffee up, please, people. I'll be back in a second. Where's Castro? Didn't realise he was there. So, before I went out to get a coffee, Liz Warren was asked about automation and how she felt about the automation and the jobs that are going to be lost as a result of it. I'm thinking transport especially. And she said, well, historically it's been bad trade policy. That's the problem. It's like, well, that may be the case, Liz, historically, but going forward, it's going to be automation. And probably bad trade policy as well. Lie down. Lie down. Liz Warren wants to have a chat with Andrew Yang. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Also gave a pretty boring fucking answer, to be honest. Agreed with Andrew Yang that giving people free money is a good idea. You're just raising the floor, that's all. Eventually it'll catch up. It's a top-down problem, not a bottom-up. You're just raising the floor, Andrew. That's all you're doing. You're not solving the problem, which is corruption. That's the problem. I'm going to have a word with the Fed. Yeah, go and have a word with the Fed, Andrew, because at the moment they're putting 75 billion a day. They're just printing it and just sticking it into the system because there's a massive problem that nobody knows how to fix. So they're just thinking, I tell you what we'll do, we'll print some money and just plug it in, plug this black hole, shall we, for the next God knows how long. They said they were going to do it up until October the 10th, but I think they've now put another fund out there to, we'll keep doing it until November. And there was a situation, I know, 2 weeks ago, where overnight, sometimes the banks have to sort of get a temporary loan before, other stock exchanges or other banks around the world open. So they have to get a temporary loan from, the Federal Reserve or whatever it was, don't quote me on that. And at a ridiculously low rate, like 1% or whatever it is, because they're only going to need it for a few hours. And the banks went to get some of that funding. They was just like, nah, we got no money. No, there's none in there. It's like the first time it's ever happened. So they're having to stick 75 billion a day in to plug this hole. And now Andrew Yang thinks raising the UBI, that's going to solve it all. That's not Andrew, mate. It's not. But good idea. Keep trying. It's good that he's on there talking about this shit, but he really hasn't got a clue on foreign policy. He hasn't got a fucking clue. These people are running for president. President! They are running for president. I'd only trust about 2 of them to clean my shoes correctly. These people are running for president. Think about that. Andrew Yang hasn't got he couldn't honestly point to Syria on a fucking map. He hasn't got a clue the connotations of the situation with Julian Assange. Hasn't got a clue. It's just 1K. Let's give people UBI, that'll solve everything. No, it won't. You'll raise the floor. The theft will carry on. The corruption will carry on. The people will suffer. And eventually 1K will be the equivalent of 10 quid. Yeah. A fact on CNN. Top 1% earn more than the bottom 90. Is the goal of your plan to tax billionaires out of existence? The correct answer to that? Yes. You rephrased it. We can't afford a billionaire class. This is why they don't like him, man. Yes. Thank you, Bernie. Thank you. He reframes it. He says it's beautifully. He says the top 3 people own more than the bottom 50%. We can't afford them. It's morally wrong. Yes, I do plan to tax them out of existence. Correct. That's why they don't like him. Because the people asking the questions, they work for those very same people that Bernie is saying he would tax out of existence. You see how it works? CNN, they're basically just their people's PR companies. That's all they are. They don't, it's not like me. I'm independent. I'm funded by you. That's who I serve. Therefore, I know you give me money because I give you the truth. So I give you the truth. CNN, they get given money to peddle lies and conspiracy theories like Rachel Maddow. It's slick. The graphics are great. You know, every now and then the shot changes. But you don't get the truth. Pay your money, you take your choice. Who is this fucking guy? Is this that Steyer fella who bought his way in? Who the fuck is he? Who are you? This Steyer. I thought maybe it was a guy who just put a suit on and walked in off the street. Joe Biden just said he would eliminate the capital gains tax. He would raise it to 39%. He would double it. You heard that, right? You heard that, right? He said he would eliminate the capital gains. This guy. Thirdly. Oh my God! America, for fuck's sake, come on! That guy is the front runner? Seriously? That guy? Are you fucking kidding me? Biden, he's the guy? That was a fucking car crash. Oh, she's doing that. Oh, you fucking... Oh, she's even doing that. Liz Warren, did you see? They said, don't do that. They say it's too threatening. Do that. It's the Hillary Clinton. Oh, she's doing it now. She's realised she was doing it. Now she's pointing. This woman, honestly, she's fake. She's theirs. She's owned. That was a fucking car crash, Biden. I'm doing a video about that. I have to do a video about that. That's incredible. That was a car crash of an answer. He said something like, he said something to the words of, I think this was right. Fact is, everybody's right about the fact that the Industrial Revolution cost jobs. Trump would like play with him like a kitten with a ball of fucking string. Good Dog says, I've got someone watching me watching Gordon watch it. What are you doing? What did you do tonight? I watched somebody watch the debate. I'm going to change the title. Watch me watch the debate. Why didn't I think of that before I went live? Thank you, Good Dog. Honestly, Amy Klobuchar starts talking. I'm like, Tulsi, for fuck's sake, say something. Jump in. That's a long. I suppose she's got a long way. She can't really talk about what I want her to talk about. Can somebody check? I think I've changed the. I think I've changed it everywhere. Let me check. Why don't I check? Senator Klobuchar, I would like to respond to that, she says. Where's it going? Okay, Amy Klobuchar is giving everybody a history lesson of her family. Cool. Watch me watch the debate. Gordon, do you think England will take us back? Please. I don't know. I mean, they're going to need a few countries. Soon. I think they're going to need a few because I think they might lose one or two in the next year or three. Kamala Harris this is a better performance from her tonight. It's certainly better than the last one. The last one, honestly, I think she was just trying to have a joke and a laugh and at one stage she even made a reference, honestly, a dick joke. Even lefty channels like Carl Kalinske don't like Biden says Gypsy King Fury. I don't really buy into this whole left and right thing. I'm really trying to get away from it. I really am. B Green says the only people voting for Cloud Boot Jar are her family members and Bill Maher. Bill Maher. God, how the mighty have fallen. Honestly thought he was going to be the next George Carlin. I thought it was the natural progression of things, but no. He decided to be really successful and make millions and not give a fuck anymore. How's the back, says Itchy Ball? It's sore. It's okay. It's alright at the moment. This chair, this stool actually makes me sit up straight. One of the reasons why I bought it. Yes, Zoxilix. 9/11 was an inside job for the MIC. Okay, yes. You've got to have a better way of messaging it than that, mate. Don't just go straight, you know. Foreplay. I'm so disappointed in Beto O'Rourke. We're an hour in and he hasn't spoken a word of Spanish yet. Not a word. Nor Booker. Booker's going to do it first this time. Yeah, the left and right thing is to divide people. Exactly, Jixie King Fury. That's exactly right. And it's all subjective, isn't it? And the media, for fucking years, have been telling everybody that Hillary Clinton is a centrist. Hillary Clinton's not a centrist. You go and do the test. You know, the test with the cross and authoritarian, libertarian, left, right. You go and do the test and answer questions as if it was Hillary Clinton be answering them and be honest. Hillary Clinton is basically right fucking smack bang on top of Margaret Thatcher. And there's no way Margaret Thatcher is a fucking centrist if you go policy via policy via policy. If you're honest about it, Hillary Clinton is an authoritarian conservative. She's not a centrist. Americans have been saying centrist, these are centrists, and trying to say Tony Blair's a centrist. Tony Blair's not a fucking centrist. Tony Blair's a neoliberal. He's a neoconservative in frilly knickers. That's all he is. He's still an evil bastard, war criminal. That's why I don't like using this left and right bullshit. And you know what? I'm at the stage now where people do come up to me in the street and I get noticed in places, like in fucking weird places, like the middle of London in the underground, or, you know, it's just strange. The most repeated comment that I get now from people is, I'm on the right, but I agree with almost everything you say. And then when I start speaking to them, I find out they're actually not on the right. They're just a conservative progressive, if you like. They're not on the right. They're more to the left of centre. They just have been told for years that the right is... Sorry, the left is... They've been told for years that the left is, or the centrists are neoliberal, authoritarian conservatives. That's all Hillary Clinton is. Neoliberal, authoritarian conservative. Basically right smack bang on top of Margaret Thatcher. Ew. There's an image I can't get out of my head. Is Julian Castro answering a question? Stick away from the gay stuff. Julian, I'm pretty sure that the last debate you said that you were all for men having babies. Cory Booker's going to speak Spanish any second now, I swear. Like Cory Booker has decided, you know what, I can't win president. I can't win this presidency thing, but you know what? I'm going to tell people how to do the debates properly. $400 million people. America has got 400 million people. And that is the cream of the crop. It's like George Carlin used to say, maybe, just maybe, it's not the politicians that suck. Because you voted for them there. The people voted for them. The people keep voting for these rich motherfuckers that don't give a shit about them. Maybe it's the people that sucks. Maybe this is the best we can do. God, I love that man. Jonathan Cook, men having babies only a matter of time. Honestly, he was talking about Ellie, lie down. He was talking. The question was about women's rights, and he said I'm not just for reproductive rights. I'm for reproductive justice. And the crowd went woo, and he said a transgender woman. I'm all for a transgender woman having kids, i.e. a biological man who's transitioned over. And he was talking about, you know, women's rights and healthcare and birth, etc. That's Julian Castro. And he's still in the running. He's still in the running. We had a situation over here in the UK a few weeks ago where some singer who I think lost X Factor, although he might have won, I don't know. But then, yeah. Anyway, he came out as they. All of a sudden, he came out as they. Whatever they is. And the media keep talking about it as if it's some big thing. And I just think, Prince changed his name. Prince changed his name to Symbol. We didn't call him Symbol. We made fucking fun of him. That's what we did. It wasn't because he was gay. He wasn't gay. Prince was a fucking hound dog from all intents and purposes. But we still made fun of him. Prince was cool with it. Prince would just go and watch the Charlie Murphy thing of him with basketball with Prince. It's hilarious. But we made fun of him. When he changed his name to Symbol, we changed it. We made fun of him. When you come out as they, we're just going to make fun of you. Honestly, we are. Anybody is. You go and speak to somebody on the street. Go and speak to somebody. Say hi to somebody. Meet them in person. Not on the end of your phone. Go and meet them. Go to a public place and say hi. Talk to them. Say, what do you think about X, Y, Z? And they will tell you to your face. Are you fucking kidding me? You came out as they? Instead of somebody on the other end of the screen that you think is a person that really is just going along with whatever the fucking media is telling them to think. Honestly, you're plugging yourself into a way of thinking that's just... came out as they. If you really want me to stand up for LGBTQ rights, which I do, by the way, go watch my videos. I do stand up for LGBTQ rights. Just not rich motherfuckers who want some more attention. Because that's all it is, Sam Smith. Really, if you want to do something productive, don't come out as they. Go fucking find out why, you know, people aren't shouting more about Chelsea Manning. That's what I do. I stand up for LGBTQ people. I stand up for their rights. I couldn't give a fuck what Chelsea Manning wants me to call her. I will do. Whatever it is, I'll be polite. Don't care. If she came out and said they, no problem, whatever. I'd probably make fun of her. Probably not at the moment, because she's in fucking prison for refusing to testify against her publisher. It's honestly, people are so quick at the moment to jump on any bandwagon on their fucking little machine. Go and speak to a real person in a street. You will find it's a totally different fucking subject. It's a totally different thing. God damn it, man. And we've got a generation of people that have grown up like this. This is not going to end well. Would you send troops back into Syria, Biden? He wouldn't withdraw. What about the time you ran out of fucking... Your boss ran out of bombs in Afghanistan? Wasn't that a shameful thing of foreign policy? Right, okay, so Biden's answer to the question... This is going to be brilliant. Please, come on, Tulsi. give Tulsi this. So he would have left the troops in, he wouldn't have withdrawn the troops, and he would have sat down with Assad, and then he realised, oh fuck, it wasn't Assad that was doing it, it was Turkey. Honestly, you guys are watching it. Here's Tulsi. Negative consequence of regime change war. Both parties are supporting it. Operation Timber Sycamore. 3 words you rarely hear on mainstream media. Called out the CNN. He's calling out CNN, ladies and gentlemen. Don't you just continue? There's no way CNN will just cut her off now. No way. I'd like to ask if Liz Warren will join me in calling an end to this Syrian regime change war. Notice she didn't do it. Liz, this is not Trump. Obama did this shit. Obama started it. This didn't start in 2016, you numpty. Oh, Tulsi has just shown her to be a complete idiot just by asking her to join it. In ending a regime change war. Fucking hell, Tulsi's answer on that was brilliant. That really was good, wasn't it? And she got Warren at the end of it. She called out, she nailed the foreign policy, called out CNN, and got Elizabeth Warren. She got that was a trifecta. So she called out the amount of, she nailed the foreign policy bit. She nailed CNN on them calling her an Assad apologist and an agent of Putin. And then she just gave Elizabeth Warren a quick kick in the groin and kick in the shins on the way out. Oh, she's ending Buttigieg's career. Oh no. She just killed Buttigieg. And he's come back and she's gonna kill him. Dead. Oh God. That was a good few minutes for Tulsi Gabbard, people. Oh, Buttigieg, shut up, man, because if she comes back at you... Oh. That would have been a fatality. Turkey still a US ally? Well, America's the one who just basically did an act of war on Turkey by sanctioning them. That's NATO ally on NATO ally. Sanctions are an act of war. Is Turkey still a US ally and should it remain in NATO? Well, yeah, I mean, you know, because America have total control over these things and what they say goes. I'm fucking sick of people nailing Turkey and Erdogan. I'm sick of it. I really am. I've got to do a video on this situation in northern Syria because everybody, Turkey's getting it from every fucking side. Every side in this. And nobody's like, hold on a minute. America's bombed the shit out of the Middle East with our help. Yeah, for the last fucking God knows how long, 20 years. Most people, the majority of people's lives, let's face it, they've been bombing the shit out of the Middle East, bombing the shit out of Syria in these regime change wars, and Syria and Turkey, which if you look at a map, which Americans never fucking do, seemingly, If you look at a map, or our media certainly don't, Turkey is basically the fucking country between the whole of the Middle East and Europe. It's basically that. So all these people have been flooding into, they've closed that. So they're all going into Turkey. 3.6 million Syrians, he says he's got. I've seen estimates of like up to 6 million refugees Turkey have got. The EU promised that they would give him €6 billion to help pay for it. Reneged on it, didn't give it him. He's basically given up on that now. And the EU were basically saying, "Oi, these are acts of, this is genocide. That's going on. Genocide. What you're doing against the Kurds." And he went, "Hey, EU, you want to shut your fucking mouths? Otherwise, I'll open my borders and flood 3.6 million refugees that you won't pay for into your continent." You have to look at it from every single perspective to be able to actually come to a conclusion and realise there's no real fucking good guys here. They're just all trying to manoeuvre themselves and put them in a position that they've been put in basically because the last 20 years the United States has been lighting it on fucking fire. Once again, Donald Trump. No, you have been selling. Presidents have been selling people out in the Middle East for decades, Kamala. You should see what they're doing in South America. It's frightening. She couldn't point to Syria on a fucking map. Kamala Harris. She couldn't tell you where Syria is. You've got to understand, Janet Baker's just said, okay, I get that most of the refugees... Hold on a minute, it's just scrolled up, it's just jumped on me. Janet Baker's just said, okay, I get that most of the refugees ended up in Turkey. Why the hell is Turkey bombing and making more immigrants? Okay, well, this is sort of a problem of Assad's own making here, because the Syrians left Syria not because Assad was bombing them, but because America was bombing the shit out of them. There were these moderate rebels they were arming, basically ISIS and Al Qaeda. That's the reason they got out. They want to go back to Syria. They're not fleeing an oppressive Assad regime, much as the media will tell you. They want to go back to Syria. The proof in that they're not fleeing an oppressive Assad regime is the fact that they want to go back to Syria. Northern Syria, where the Kurds are, is still Syria. He wants a space where he can go, oi, Syrians, go back and fucking get in your own country. That's why he's doing it. He's not invading Syria because he's at war with Syria. He wants somewhere to... Nobody else will sort these refugees out. So he's trying to... He's basically... Trump sort of said, okay, I'll pull out and you do it then. That's basically what's gone on. Now, this is disastrous for all sides. But I don't want everybody going, Turkey, Erdogan, because that's not right. Yes, what he's doing are horrible, it's war crimes. They all do them. All of them. This is why it's so important we have a free press and a media that will expose them and tell people the facts and explain it in the way I've just have. The Kurds, they're not from Kurdistan, that's what they want. It was they had an agreement they sort of left over when the Ottoman Empire crumbled back at the beginning, around World War One, beginning of the 20th century. And they sort of they were almost stateless. They were spread between Syria and Iraq and, all these other places. So, they don't think of themselves as Syrian, more as Kurds. And Erdogan's got all these Syrians in his country that he wants out because they're in refugee camps. And hey, there's Syria. They're not Syrians. Assad hates them. Remember, they chose America's side. The Kurds did. In this regime change war against Assad. Now they want to make a deal with Assad. Just as I said they would. But you know, this is the shit that's going on over there. So I understand, Janet. Hopefully that makes it more sense. Hopefully it does. And obviously there were other reasons that Erdogan has got for this, you know, don't get me wrong, but what is he doing, Biden? I'm really. He just said our military will be vastly underrated. Underrated. ISIS are going to come here, he says. What the fuck is this guy on? He said ISIS will come here. He said our military will be underrated. And then went, it'll be bad. Yeah, and then he said, Robert Hickey said the world Robert Hickey is just, thanks, mate. If Trump is elected, so he said. He said, ISIS will come over here, our military will be underrated, and if Trump is elected, NATO will disappear. It's like, well, that's a good thing. We might vote for that guy because these people are a bunch of shit. Better be saying Russia invaded the United States democracy. I must have missed that, mate. I must have been talking. You're not fucking saying anything, Beto. Just talking Spanish, mate. Honestly. Oh, Jesus. Why is this guy on your debates? Seriously, how corrupt is America that this guy has basically just bought his way onto the fucking debate? He looks, honestly, he looks a little bit like something you would find on The Walking Dead. Doesn't he? A CNN changing the contrast on him like they did with Bernie last week. Let me get to the break, Steve. Let me get to the break, and I think there's a break. When the next break comes up, I'll take a break because I've got like everything open at the moment. I don't know what I'm doing. So this businessman, this fucking billionaire, whatever he is, who's bought his way onto the debate, seemingly, is talking about corruption. There's a saying we have in the United Kingdom: "You're teaching Granny to suck eggs." You're right, B Green. If Bernie did 1/10 the dumbass shit that Biden does, they would crucify him for it. It's insane. Honestly, if he did that tonight, if Bernie did that tonight, they would say it's over. He's finished. He's he can't do it. He's dead. He's health no good. His mind's gone. You fucking hypocrites, the lot of you. Honestly, the country that meddles in every fucking election around the world, every single election seemingly around the world, honestly, to have the gall to say you meddled in our elections with some Facebook memes. The rest of the country, America, the rest of the world rather, is laughing at your hypocrisy, honestly. You meddle fucking everywhere. Everywhere. Oh, how dare you meddle in our elections? Congressman O'Rourke said, "Hell yes, we'll take you AR-15s." He's from Texas. It's not going to go well down well. Right, if I'm going to be listening to this for another hour and a half, I'm going to need another coffee. Has Tulsi called out anybody else while I was away? That was brilliant, that was. That was a trifecta. She nailed the foreign policy question, nailed CNN for their bias and their smearing, and then got Warren with a kick to the ankles on her way out the door, and then followed it up by killing Buttigieg. Pretty good few minutes that was. Stephen Davis slipped seamlessly from Russiagate to Ukrainegate. You betcha, mate. This isn't going anywhere. They're going to ride this like Zorro for the rest of the year at least. Because they've got nothing. Look at them. They've got no fucking policies, have they? The one policy that people have brought up, Medicare for all, Bernie brought up, everybody's like, oh, you're crazy, fucker. Crazy. They've got no actual policies that people watching this would go, you know what, I'm going to vote for them. They're going to change my life. Beto O'Rourke, he's going to make my life better. Do you think, like, you know, your average American working 2 jobs to put food on the table, you know, with kids, with, you know, hopes of them getting an education, when maybe their parents or they didn't have that education and wants them to get a leg up. Do you think any of them are looking at any of these people on the stage and going, you know what, they're going to change my life? If Pete Buttigieg gets the nomination and beats Trump, my life's going to get better. The only people thinking that are rich motherfuckers who doesn't matter which one of these gets elected, they're always going to win, apart from 1 or 2. There's 1 or 2 people up there, you know what? They would change people's lives. In my opinion, there's 2. And the media are going to tell you that anyone but those 2 people can beat Trump. They will tell you, no, Bernie Sanders, Tulsi Gabbard, no. No. Yet they're the only 2 that actually would change the average person's lives. I mean, let me. If there's any Americans watching this who have just tuned in, watching me watch the debate, it's like, what? Bernie Sanders is so powerful. He got 40,000 people in the UK a raise. That's how good Bernie is. 40,000 Amazon workers in the UK got a raise. And it was a nice raise as well. I seem to remember it was about 15%. He boosted, because the Amazon changed their minimum wage worldwide because of Bernie's campaign. That's how he changes average people's lives. That's why every poll is skewed against him. Honestly, every poll is going to be skewed against him. Tulsi would change people's lives because she would go after the Patriot Act, which is the piece of paper which causes all the wars in the world and all your tax dollars to go down the drain. Speak Spanish, Corey. Come on. Speak Spanish. Hablo español. Tengo hambre. I am. Bernie's heart is the problem, says Rupert Fellows. Yeah, obviously. He's the only one on stage, seemingly, who has one. You can have that, mate. Tell me, Amy. You say you want an option to buy back. Why don't you want a mandatory to buy back? Well, I can't. I keep thinking of how close we are to coming to an answer on this. Honestly, that's what she just said. Right, America, you've got a massive gun problem. But if you're an American right now and you're happy that you can handle a gun and there is no way that anybody in your family could commit suicide with it, including yourself or anything like that, if ever you think that, make sure you give your gun back, but do not fucking give your gun away, because I think you're going to need it in the decades to come. I really fucking do. Do not give your guns up. And this is from somebody who had a friend shoot himself in the head. My American friend shot himself in the head, and I'm like, yes, and I get it. I get the urge to go, yeah. You know, we haven't got that problem. Any country without the gun laws that you have doesn't have that problem. Seriously, obviously, because we don't have the guns, and that's the problem. The guns. But yeah, don't give them up. Don't. If ever you think that, you know, you could harm yourself or anybody else with them, or, you know, or anybody else in your family would, or anything, but honestly, I would, if I was in America, everybody else has got a gun, I would definitely, it would be that stage. I know it's horrible, but in the years to come, the people with the guns, they're the ones who are going to be eating. Because this is the best you can fucking do. Let's face it. If this is the best you can do, your country's going down the pan. If this is the best you can do, Donald Trump gets another term. So she said the number one thing for black men, Kamala Harris said, for gun violence is, you know, the answer to gun violence. It's like, well, yeah, and that's the reason they're in prison. It's like, yeah, you put them there, bitch. You know, you fucking put them there. And then you kept them there because they were cheap labour. Ellie, lie down. Lie down. Yeah, it's okay, Dante. It was a decade ago, man. It's a long time ago. But if anybody has a reason, Biden beat the NRA twice, he says. What if they don't, Joe? So Biden's answer is he's gonna stop magazines having more than 10 rounds. You know, Switzerland has a lot of guns as well. Switzerland, you can buy guns in Switzerland. They don't have the problems that America has there. The America's problem isn't just the guns; it's the mental health problem. It's the health issue is a lot to do with it, because you haven't got a standard level of health. You haven't got a standard level of mental health. I mean, in this country, it's not much because of the defunding of the NHS. It's got worse, but you know, there is at least something there for you. In America, there's fucking nothing. Unless you've got money. All right, Julian Castro's made a good point there. Police violence is also good violence. That's a good answer. Yeah, he's made a good answer there. God, not Amy again. What I like to ask is it a pig and a poke sort of situation? God, this is still another hour of this. Yeah. Fail. It's an easy answer. How will you tackle the opioid epidemic, specifically in rural areas with less access to rehab and jobs? What I will do is I'll go after the pharmaceutical companies and then I'll make them to actually repair for the damage that they've done, because it's them who've been raping and making out like bandits and doing this, and that's the reason why we've got this opioid epidemic and these people hooked on pills. I'll actually fucking tax them, and with the tax I'll create these units in the rural areas or some bullshit like that. That's the way to answer the question. It's fucking simple. It's not rocket science. Person on the street goes, oh, that's a good idea. Is the guy from The Walking Dead again? Mr. Steyer. Look at him, man. He's better. Seriously, it looks like he's been in makeup to make him look like a zombie. You have a broken government because corporations have bought it, and this is a rich motherfucker who's bought his way to the debate stage. It is, isn't it? Businessman. These corporations have taken over our government, he says. And I bought my way onto the debate stage. Yeah, he's right, Andrew Yang. Capitalism run riot. Ever wondered why you've been in Afghanistan for nearly 18 years, America? Have a look. Where do you think all the opium comes from for your opiate epidemic? Might be a bit of a connection there. Might want to look into that. We can't seem to get out of Afghanistan. He's a hedge fund billionaire who conned thousands of people by getting them to sign up for an impeach Trump newsletter so he could run for president, says Longworn. There you go. That's his story. Thank you for that, mate. And it was some bullshit. Go lie down. Beto speaks Spanish. Come on. Don't you try linking marijuana and don't you even say marijuana for a start, it's cannabis. Don't you try linking cannabis and opiates in the same fucking sentence, Beto. What are you doing? Go speak Spanish. Stay in your lane. Kamala Harris just lost track of what she was saying then halfway through the sentence and just... She's struggling here. Stevie G. Wiz says, trouble with opium is it's a bit Moorish. That's right, Kamala. They were marketing the false advertising. How many of them did you prosecute? Yeah. How many of them did you prosecute where you were the state's chief prosecutor? None? How many people who were addicted to those things and was a victim of that did you send to prison and then keep them in there for the cheap labour? If only you were in a position of power and you could change these things, eh, Kamala? Make the world a better place. ¿Cómo se llama? ¿Cómo se llama? Bernie, man, you dog. Corey, stop it, Corey. That wasn't your moment. And jumping on the end of that. Corey Booker just jumped in on the end of something Bernie said that was really cool. Just tried to get involved in the situation. Corey, if you want to do that, wait for Beto to speak Spanish. You can do that then. Yeah. Cory Booker's there smiling, yeah. And then Cory Booker vetoed cheaper drugs from Canada, Bernie's bill. So he vetoed it, he voted against it. Said, we don't know about whether their testing is as good as ours. When he knows very, very well that Canada's testing is way better. Of course it is. They've got healthcare. So, here we go. Go on, Bernie. You got to expect this question. '78 heart attack. They've gone after him with that. Bernie, come on. You're 78. You've just had a heart attack. Do you not get the message yet? If you don't drop out, the CIA will kill you next time. Fuck you. I'm joking. You got a nice moment. Okay. Biden, come on, just say something of substance. Anything, come on. A policy, anything. It's like the reason I want to run is because I know what needs to be done and that's what I'm going to do. What the fuck are you going to do? Well, it's the reason I'm running. He said it again. What are you going to do? I know what has to be done. What is it? I've done it and I know what's going to... What? I know what's got to be done. He just keeps saying it. Tulsi is on the stage, yes, Nigel. She's only said about 5 words and she's killed 2 people, I think, already. Fucking hell, CNN, are you ageist much? Going on a bit about the age shit, aren't you? It's the reason he's running, Dante Edmundo is. What is? He knows what needs to be done. What? What needs to be done? Yeah, peace, power. Biden's just like Hillary, offering nothing but the status quo. And platitudes. Lots and lots of platitudes, seemingly, as well. And BBC tomorrow will say he won the debate. Watch. Watch. I promise you. Anthony Zwicker at the BBC, Anthony Zwicker at the BBC is going to say that Biden won the debate. And Bernie had a bad night. And Elizabeth Warren did okay. You're right, Liz. Democrats win when we call out what's broken and we try and fix it. Exactly. For instance, what's broken is Biden and his son and the corruption. So shall we fix that? No? No? So then you're full of fucking shit, aren't you then, Liz? Yeah, she's fit as fuck. Biden, man. Liz One will be on VH1 Stories this weekend, says Brian Full Press. See, Tulsi, this is a mistake I think Tulsi's doing. She's relying on her military career here and giving her military CV, which would go down very well in the presidential race, really well. But in this, the Democratic race, she's trying to go, oh, no way. She tried to go after Elizabeth Warren again. She tried to point at her, and the moderator cut her off. You saw that, yeah? You saw that? She tried. She tried to go after Elizabeth Warren again, and the moderator cut her off. Yeah, but I think she relies too heavily on that in a democratic debate. They're all fucking warmongers. Yeah, obviously, but her military, I think, will go down better with independents and conservatives than it will people who are registered Democrats, because registered Democrats, they're meant to be the people who are against war, you know? It'll play better with them. Good on you, Kathy Lloyd. Gordon and I both smoking our E6. Right, let's see if yeah. I'm sorry, everybody. This is what happens. I'm not great with technology, and I couldn't link things up. Really sorry about that. They can't repeal the Patriot Act. The whole NWO, yeah, New World Order depends on it, says Sebastian Nathaniel. That's what 9/11 was planned for. It gave the US government full fascist control of the military. Okay, I'll go home then, now you've explained that. Like I say, people, just, you know, you got to understand what this channel is. You got to explain what's going on in the world better than just, because that you just come across as a crazy person. To anybody in the street, just goes, okay, this is a nutcase, bye. But if you say, did you know that, you know, journalism is in jail at the moment? They go, really? Honest. You know she can keep banging on that during her rallies and town halls. It says Nigel Solis. Yeah, I mean, you know, her resting on and going back on a. I mean, you know, this is somebody who volunteered for 2 tours of Iraq and Kuwait. You know, it goes down really well with people who independents and people who are conservative. It really does. But I don't think it does with the democratic side of things. I think. We'll see. We'll see when it gets to the primaries. We'll see. I said, put her in front of people, they'll love her. Let her speak, they'll love her. Let her hear what she says, they'll love her. Put her in a room, they'll love her. And they do, but they don't hear enough of her. And that's obviously the media. But we'll see. I certainly don't think she'll be going anywhere soon. I can see a couple of people on that stage who will be, but I don't think she will. Especially if she has a good last hour, which I'm hoping she will do. Tulsi is a medic, says Kathy Lloyd. That is exactly right. Exactly right. Sorry everyone, I just realised I just walked off screen then. I needed to go and fill my coffee cup up. Every time 9/11 is mentioned, Gordon, you sneer. What's up? I can't preach to the choir that comprehensively. Here's why, mate. Because is that all people are just going to do? Just going to keep going banging on about 9/11, 9/11, 9/11? Listen, you know, I've got to do a video on 9/11 on the World Trade Center on the Building 7. Actually, some things are better. Just let's just move on. I don't mean it like that. Fuck me, that came out really wrong. That really came out wrong. Don't quote me on that. Concentrate on what's going on right now. That's what I mean. Look back in history to see what's going on now. Point out the things that are going on now. Because keep pointing back there. It's not going to get anybody on your side. It's not going to corral people to your cause. Because the media do a great job. If you speak to average people on the street, obviously, go and have that. Go and say what you're saying on the street, and people will nod along with you. I can't really explain it well. It's not a sneer. I just think you're going about things in the wrong way. How's that? I hope that makes sense. Fucking hell, CNN. Here's the question they're asking now, CNN. It's to start off this third hour. Do tech companies like Facebook, Amazon and Google need to be broken up? Honestly, that's the biggest fucking setup question for Liz Warren you could have. It's like saying... They're not even hiding it. They're not even hiding it. They're not even hiding the bias. This is literally a question tailor-made for Elizabeth Warren. If it was Bernie Sanders, it would be like saying, should we do what the rest of the world does, like Bernie Sanders says, or should we do what the rest of you dumb motherfuckers on that stage want? That's the equivalent of them saying that to Bernie if they wanted... I'm going to go and make my coffee. Is that guy from the work at Walking Dead again? I haven't listened to a goddamn word this guy said. This guy who won this ticket or whatever it is, this fucking Willy Wonka type guy, billionaire. I haven't listened to a word. I can't take anything he says seriously. He's not serious. It's not serious. Might as well have Joe from the corner. Now, Joe from the corner would probably make more sense than most of these people. Yeah, Sebastian, I do what I do, mate. I do what I can. I'm on your side, buddy. I am. But every time you say that on my stream, YouTube are like, ooh, crazy conspiracy theorist, let's de-rank him. Seriously, they do. You know they de-rank us now for the comments? Seriously. Okay, Beto says we need rules. What rules, Beto? Right now we treat them like a utility. No, we fucking don't. What are you talking? No, you don't treat big. He said. He's just said. Big tech companies, the government treats them like a utility. No, you don't. Utilities, most of the time, are privately owned. Utilities are publicly owned by the government. Utilities. You make sure everybody has them. You make sure that, everybody has access to water or has their water, that sort of thing. Big tech companies ain't like that. You say something wrong on YouTube, they'll go, cut you off. The water company can't do that. Electric company can't switch you off because you did something wrong. Your phone can't turn you off because you said something crazy on the telephone to somebody. Fucking big tech companies can. YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. You're talking out your ass, Beto. Come on, stop fucking... Bernie? Oh, sorry. Oh, just had a shooting pain in my back. She was a district attorney. She was a district attorney that kept poor black people in prison for the cheap labour. And she's lecturing the country on how bad it is when the laws are not applied equally among everyone. And then he's saying the president is using his Twitter platform with 65 million followers to intimidate witnesses. So she's basically saying that Twitter should shut down President Trump's account. If you took Donald Trump off Twitter, there would be no fucking Twitter. You stupid son of a bitch. Oh my God. If you took Donald Trump off Twitter, there would be no Twitter. I mean, there might actually be no Twitter. I mean, no Twitter headquarters. Some crazy Trump supporter would fucking blow it up. I'm not being hyperbolic. That's exactly what would happen. They would blow up Twitter's headquarters. She's literally just saying, yeah, let's do something that's going to incite an act of terrorism. Not only would Twitter be absolutely fucking hilariously, incredibly boring if he wasn't on it, it really would. He's the fucking troll of old trolls. And I can't stand the guy, but... why is it always the left, seemingly, that are coming down on free speech? He can say what the fuck he wants on his personal Twitter. If I can, then so can the president. Intimidating witnesses? What fucking witnesses are you talking about? In the Russiagate inquiry, you mean the fake thing that he knew was fake? That ended up being fake? Because you couldn't get him on anything because it was fake? Do you mean that? He wasn't intimidating witnesses, he was mocking the Democrats because they suck so bad and they don't stand for anything, that this is the level of shit that they have to stoop to. Fake Russiagate, now fake fucking Ukraine gate, to keep the news cycle moving along. Because if ever if somebody asked them a question about policy, they shit themselves. Because they know every time they're opening their mouth and words are coming out when they're asked something on policy, donors are pulling out. No matter what they say. Why do the left always want to censor? Why is it the so-called left? That's because most of these people on the stage, honestly, most of those people on the stage are not actually on the left. Most of them are right of centre. Biden, definitely. Klobuchar, I don't really know what her policies are. I've got to be honest. She pretty much seems like your average run-of-the-mill neoliberal there. I'm waiting for the question to get over to Tulsi Gabbard. I'm waiting for the Tulsi answer on this, because I've got a feeling she might have something to say, especially as she's got a lawsuit against Google. I wonder if they might mention that on the CNN debate. She's got to get that question, surely. No, she hasn't. And don't call me Shirley. Sorry. So Andrew Young is saying our data is our property. What about your permanent record, Andrew? What about your permanent record? Come on, I'm reading about Edward Snowden right now. What about your permanent record? You know, every single keystroke on your computer that you've put into that Google, to that search bar. You know, every time you've searched for an angry midget in the search bar of a porn site. Because they've probably got it. You know, if it's What about that? What about that record? Is that your personal property as well? Yeah, I bet you won't go that far, will you, Andrew? It's sadly entertaining to watch Gordon pull his hair out watching an American debate, says Dante Edmundo. I'm here to please, mate. I'm glad you. I'm glad you. I'm glad that. I'm glad watching me watch the debate. I'm a bit close to that mic. I'm glad watching me watching the debate is entertaining. I thought it might be actually. I thought I thought a few people might want to watch along with me anyway. They didn't ask Tulsi a question on the tech companies, strangely enough. The person on stage who's suing one of the big tech companies, they didn't ask her the question about the tech companies. Fuck me. Oh, here we go. He'd be laughing at you, mate. If Donald Trump was up there, Amy, he'd be making fun of you. He'd be calling you, soccer mom Amy or some fucking shit. He'd come up with some name and you'd make fun of you and everybody would laugh and you would. That's what would happen. Now, if Trump was on stage with you, honestly, he would. Well, no, of course, Donald Trump's not on the side of women. It's Donald fucking Trump. Grab him by the pussy. It's so funny. You know, one of the arguments that the Democrats have, and sycophants for the Democrats have, one of the arguments is, against Julian Assange is, if he had shit on Trump, why didn't he release it, First of all, how do you know he had shit on Trump? Second of all, did you not fucking had enough? You had him on tape saying he grabs women by the pussy. If that doesn't fucking swing the election in Hillary's favour, then you know what? That guy's Teflon. It is so funny. That's why he wins, That's why he won. That's why he's got the highest ever approval ratings that he's ever had. Because his opponents are that shit, and the reason they're that shit is because they're all bought. I mean, it's a theatre over here. Over there, it's Hollywood. Dun, 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 Hollywood. Incredible. Don't ask her the question about breaking up big tech companies, the person who's, got a lawsuit against one of them. Ask us one about reproductive rights instead, Tulsa being a woman and all. Come on, Tulsi, man. Call them out. You got to go on the attack more. They're asking Biden a question about women's reproductive rights. Take a shot every time he mentions the word Trump. I know you might not. What would you seek to add justices to the Supreme Court to protect women's reproductive rights? What, more of them? Sebastian Nathaniel says, Peace, I find the forums on Facebook are littered with the fake account shills simply there to affect opinion. Not just there to affect opinion, mate. Mostly to make money. I used to be one. I know all about it, mate. There's a lot of bot accounts that are there just to make money. I know some of them that Rachel Maddow said were Russian, that the Russian bots that were pro-Bernie. No. Internet marketers, bots. They're trying to make money. Kathy Lloyd says Biden has a video talking about how women don't have the right to decide about their own bodies. Fuck Biden. I haven't seen that, I don't think, Kathy. I'll take a shot if Biden tries to smell Kamala's hair, says Dante. How do they make money? It's usually with, just trying to click through to the website, get traffic onto a website. They can do it in various ways and make websites look like the New York Times in what they call a spoof. You can think you're going through to the New York Times. It can look like the New York Times, but it's not. And they'll have some fake account, and sometimes it's AdSense that they want. Sometimes it's a CPA offer. There are multiple ways you can make money online. Multiple. Internet marketers I know make a bloody fortune as well, and often it's the people who are the most unscrupulous and the people who take. I found the people who made the most money were the people who lied the most and took the people for the fools that they really were, with incredible stories that were obviously fake, but the more ridiculous the story, the more viral it went, especially on Facebook, in the Facebook groups, and they made fortunes. You remember 2016? The Pope endorses Trump and all those things. Yeah, some of my mates were doing that. So yeah, there's lots of ways they do. My bots, you could have a conversation with my bots. Pretty standard conversation. I could make it look like a person just with a very simple straight script. Very simple. I remember I showed one of my scripts on my stream the once, with all the brackets and because all the choices, and you have to make sure that every time your bot says something, it's randomly choosing words that A make sense and B are unique. It was like 17 pages long or something like that, and that was just one script. I still can't believe that the reproductive rights question is a thing in America. It's just. It's religion again, isn't it? Religion entering politics again. And Americans believe in angels, don't they? At a declining rate, though. I should say Americans believe in angels and make up the rules to go along as they go along. It's not religious bigotry. It's bigotry that uses religion. Biden now says we've got to level with people, we've got to tell people what's got to be done and how it's going to be done. Affordable Care Act, Vulnerable Women Act. Stumble. Fumble. Fucked up, excuse me. Assault weapons. So the question is, who's best prepared? We all have good ideas. How's it going to get done? I'm not suggesting they can't, but how's it going to get done? The guy doesn't fucking say anything. Honestly. Just nothing. How are you going to do it and why are you going to do it? That's the way you get it done. He literally just said that fucking question. Front runner. Big hope to beat Donald Trump. What percentage of Americans didn't vote? 50%? They're the ones who've got it right. This is a fucking... It really is, Dante. No, mate, it's just fruity stuff, no CBD or nothing here. Not in this. Get a coffee in a minute. Bernie's basically just said, Medicare for all, let's do what the rest of the world do. It's half as cheap, let's do it. And Biden's just said, we can do that without Medicare for all. If that was the case, why haven't you fucking done it already? The guy's a professional liar. They can keep as much fucking insurance as they want, Biden. You can see why half the country has checked out of this process. You can see. You can see. Because even if Bernie or Tulsi wins this, even if by some miracle their rigging it doesn't, end up with... even if that happens, they've still got all these people who are on the stage against them. All of those people are still going to be in positions of power, stopping Bernie doing what he does. And then Bernie will have to reach out, and then you'll get some fucking compromise, exactly the same as happens over here with Jeremy Corbyn and the Labour Party. That's your future. Now Biden's saying, I got you votes, Liz Warren. You scratch my back, I scratched your back. It's just basically just had to get... She's speechless. I'm deeply grateful to President Obama. The fuck? Oh, shut up. Fucking hell. They cut everybody off. They're so polite with her. She's still talking. Dems are more Tory than Labour. No shit, B Green. So that's that sketch again with Dudley Moore I keep going back to. Well, we have the Republican Party, which is our equivalent of your Conservative Party in the UK. And then we have the Democratic Party, which is our equivalent of your Conservative Party in the UK. 1964, that was. 1964, that sketch was, with Dudley Moore. And here we are, 55 years later. I love Bernie, but I've come to realise they will never let him in government, says Samuel Morrison. They're certainly not. They're certainly against him, aren't they? I asked the Green Party to nominate Jesse Ventura. Said, I'm sorry, it's just skipped on me. I think Greens are in America. They're like a fractured, almost organisation that's all got no structure, got no internal sort of. It's a mess, basically. Well, I mean, you know, it's a two-party system. You keep electing these motherfuckers, and now you'll keep getting the same thing. I keep saying the same thing over here. It's let me get a coffee. Let me get a coffee, and let me top this up, and I'll talk about it. Because there's so many similarities with over here. There really are. We keep electing these fuckers. We do. We keep electing. All right. They've gone back to Liz Warren, so she's probably going to praise Obama some more. Hey, it's better, Gwen. Has he spoken Spanish yet? No, they've gone to a break. I could have gone and got a coffee then. Shit, something. I'm sick. I'm a shit, aren't I? The rigging in every election since 2000 has been insane, says Big Green. Yeah. I mean, is it twice the people who lost the popular vote? I don't know. Were elected. Yeah, it is late here, Christy. 3:42. I am dedicated. We keep electing them. These people. You know, even if Bernie even if Bernie was to get elected by some miracle and the rigging against him didn't work and he was elected, or Tulsi, they've still got to contend with, you know, their own party, the Democratic Party. Same as we're seeing over here at the moment with Corbyn. You know, Bernie does say, to be fair to him, Bernie does say that it's the people that have got to do it. He can't do it himself. And to be fair to him, he doesn't blow smoke up their asses on that, you know. Nothing is going to change. Just, you know, if Bernie Sanders becomes president, you can't just go, great, okay, it's all solved now, everybody's going to get a job. It doesn't work like that. It's going to be the same over here. It's the same with Corbyn. And the thing is, the party itself is so corrupt. So corrupt. These people are so devious and so Machiavellian and so calculating and untrustworthy, and, you know, and we have built a society where these people are the ones that excel the most. We have built a society and a system in the capitalistic system that the people who are the most narcissistic and the people who are the most sociopathic and the people who are the most or the least empathic, these are the people that cut the corners and do things in a way that makes them successful businessmen or successful politicians. So we have elected the worst kinds of people to govern over us in a time when we need the most humane among us to be in those positions. And we keep thinking, I get told every day, Gordon, stop saying this about Jeremy Corbyn, he's the only hope. No, he's fucking not. If Jeremy Corbyn became Prime Minister tomorrow, do you think anything would fucking change? Nothing would change at all. He has his opponents in front of him. His enemies are right fucking behind him and to the left and to the right. His enemies are not opposite him. They're sitting with him. Those are the motherfuckers you've got to get out. And it's not going to happen by shaming people who are pointing these things out. It's going to take everybody to just say, fuck this. Fuck these people. Fuck the lot of them. Fuck the Democrats. Fuck the Republicans. Fuck Labour. Fuck the Lib Dems. Fuck the Conservatives. Fuck the Greens. Fuck the lot of them. It's about time people started putting people who represent the people in power and held their feet to the fire and stood up for what was best for them rather than what was best for their career and their donors. And nothing will change until that happens. Nothing. And I struggle to get people to write a fucking email to their MP. Many do, by the way, which I'm very grateful for. No, what's an email, people will say. Well, an email's not a lot. 1 million emails is 1 million fucking emails. But, you know, people are dumbed down and they're attached to the little consoles in front of them and they can't see any further than that thing in front of them. And they've got their Great British Bake Off and they've got their lives and their worries and their children, and You know, they were more, hey, you know, oh, whoever gets elected, they're all no good, aren't they? Meanwhile, their human rights and civil liberties are getting eroded and stripped away piece by piece. And the media are keeping them dumb. And the opiates are keeping them sedated in America. You know, that's what it all comes down to. That's why you've got an opium crisis. Because you'd have to be fucking sedated to put up with this shit. I should put that on a fucking bumper sticker, shouldn't I? No wonder there's an opiate crisis in America. You need to be sedated to put up with that shit. Ellen and war criminal. Come on, Tulsi. Oh, she came out on the side of Ellen, didn't she? Golden Silence Good and people like Joe Manchin, Doug Jones, Booker, Cloudboot, Joe Biden, etc. They've got to go. Yeah, they have, mate. They've got to go. But here's the thing. And I'm seeing this over here now with the Labour Party, and I get emails from Labour Party members explaining, you know, the struggles of the Labour Party at the grassroots. Honestly, you've got to understand that Labour hasn't just suddenly become corrupt. Labour, the Democratic Party, hasn't just suddenly become corrupt. This is something that's happened over decades and decades, and layer after layer after layer after layer after layer of corruption on top of one another. So when people do try to fight back against them, say, right, okay, let's have a free and fair democratic debate, then these free and fair democracies say, and they will stop you speaking, and they will rig it, and they will cheat, and they will stop you, and they will frustrate you to the point where you know that the whole thing is pointless. The whole thing is pointless because you can't, you know, as much as I'd like to think it was possible. I don't think it's possible to reform the Democratic Party. I don't think it's possible to reform the Labour Party. I really don't. I think they are just the levels of corruption in them, and here's Tulsi to talk about Aloha. What friendship have you had that will surprise us? Come on. Stream's gone down, guys. Sorry. I didn't hear what Tulsi's answer was to that. Yeah, the level, the ways that they have got to stop a grassroots movement, and the ways and means that they have at their disposal, and the money that they have behind them, makes it almost impossible for you to fight back against it. I just feel as if, you know, it needs to be a mass movement of people that changes things. This is why I pull no punches when I talk about Assange, and anybody's fair game. And people say, oh, you shouldn't go after Corbyn. It's like, really? He said more about Owen Jones than he has about Julian Assange. And this is the biggest case ever in the history of press freedom. Ever. And he said more about Owen Jones. You know? And I seemingly am the only one pointing this out. There aren't many of us anyway. That's why I say, you know, he's not saying the truth. He's not telling you the way it is. He's handcuffed by them. He's handcuffed by them. Do you think him being Prime Minister is suddenly going to mean those handcuffs come off? They're going to be going on even tighter. Mark Blythe says he's crisis management for a dying Labour Party. Mark Blythe's a very clever man who's been proven right several times on big issues in recent years where people were wrong, and it's difficult to disagree with him. Sebastian Nathaniel says Corbyn is the only radical in our fucked up world. No, he's not. They my biggest criticism of him is he's not radical enough. My biggest criticism. Yeah, Chris Hedges talks about massive civil disobedience, says Robert Hickey. I agree. I think massive civil disobedience is needed. I think a really intelligent conversation is needed. I think we need to listen to very smart people rather than very powerful people or very rich people. Beto hasn't spoken Spanish. So they're all telling a story on their most unlikely friendship at the moment. The Democratic debate for the presidency of the United States and the leader, so they say, of the free world, the most powerful person in the world, in a country that's got massive wealth inequality, no healthcare, guaranteed healthcare whatsoever, student loan through the roof, a financial system built on a Ponzi scheme, and the CNN think the best question to ask is, what's your most unlikely friendship? What are you going to ask next, CNN? What's your favourite colour? If you were to take only 3 things to a desert island, what would they be? Are these the level of questions that we have now? He did speak Spanish, says Golden Silence, did he? Missed it. Yeah, you and me both, Kathy. I'm yellow vest ready. Are we nearly finished yet? I think we was going to be 3 hours long, wasn't it? I think we're nearly finished. Basically, what friendship have you had that would surprise us, and what impact has it had on you and your beliefs? That's the question that they were asked. What's your weirdest friendship you've had? Closing debates now. All right, everybody. They're now coming to their closing remarks. Okay, so what can I say? Donald Trump's going to get elected again. If that's it, it's no wonder they're talking about impeachment, because none of those motherfuckers are going to beat him. I mean, even Bernie had a pretty night. Tulsi had one shining couple of minutes where she sprang to life and started kicking people and what have you, and then went back into a shell. Julian Castro, I think, had a pretty good night. Andrew Yang was, yeah, had some interesting things to say. But other than that, Biden was incapable of answering any question at all. At all. I'm incapable really of assessing Kamala Harris. Because when she talks, I just think, you're an evil bitch. You're evil, you are. You really are. She kept people in prison because of their cheap labour. Wow. And Elizabeth Warren, yeah. I suppose they couldn't have made it a better, easier night for her. And there was a guy on stage who looked like he was from The Walking Dead, who won some golden lottery ticket apparently, like Willy Wonka. Donald Trump's going to get a second term. If that's the best that America have got in opposition to him, yeah, you might as well just throw the towel in now. It's no wonder that all they do is talk impeachment right now, because there is no way that they're going to beat him. None. The only person on that panel that's got a chance, really, there's two in my opinion, Tulsi and Bernie, and those are the people that the media and the corporations, let's face it, CNN, are trying to stop being the pick to go up against him. So they're literally trying to rig it so they lose again. They would rather lose to a Republican than win with a progressive. Where have I heard that before? It really is that. That's the way it is. I sit thousands of miles away, and that's what I see. I see a bunch of people who are bought, who might as well be walking around with labels on them like those, like you've seen, the Pennzoil, etc., on the NASCAR. And it's really sick. It's really sick. And we've built a process and a system and a way of doing things that rewards the most narcissistic and sociopathic and unempathic among us. And there's about 9 of them on that stage. And they're all trying to be the person that loses to Donald Trump, seemingly, rather than actually do something that might benefit the people of that country. The healthcare issue is just, I've had friends in America who have literally had to go on a GoFundMe, and they have insurance. In fact, they have insurance through their employer, and they still had to go on GoFundMe to pay for the what's it called? The subsidy or whatever it is. The first 5,000 of the treatment they have to pay for, and that's it. They've got to raise it from somewhere, otherwise no treatment. GoFundMe. And you've got basically a bunch of people up there who are there to lie to their people and say, no, you don't. It's not because the rest of the world have got it right that they've got healthcare and you haven't. It's that we've got it right and they've got it wrong, and we've got it right in that you're not poor. If you're poor right now and you can't afford healthcare, you're not poor. You're just temporarily not a millionaire, but you will be at some time in the future, and don't worry about that. And that's the way our country's built, and we're the best because of it. And I honestly feel a little bit deflated, I really do. I've watched 3 hours of that, and a little bit of me, as Bernie is speaking right now, a little bit of me is looking at this and thinking, Donald Trump is almost certain to get a second term. That's a bit scary. It's a bit worrying. If not only that, no, I wouldn't go that far. God damn. To make Trump look good, you know? And then you remember, it's Trump. Alright, I'm going to go. Thanks very much for tuning in and watching me watch the debates. It's been very fun. I'm sure you've been watching the debates along with me. And yeah, I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it with anybody from there. I'm not technically proficient. I'm not. And I'm on my own here and it's like 4 o'clock in the morning. What can I say? But yeah, it's been fun. It was fun. I'm glad I watched it. It's horrifying. I pretty much know now, okay, for sure. Yeah, Donald Trump's going to get a second term. Because if any of those win, apart from Tulsi or Bernie, if any of the others win, and it looks like it's, people, they're all saying, oh, I don't believe the polls. I don't believe the polls. I believe Bernie is going to walk all over them, which means they're going to have to rig the elections to stop him. And I don't put it past them. I don't. Look at the election. Look at the vote rigging they did last time in 2016. Look at Broward County. Look at Tim Canova and how he was, I think, cheated twice by DWS. They're going to try desperately to stop him, and they very well could do. And if it's her, if it's Elizabeth Warren, if it's Biden, if it's anybody else apart from, like I say, Bernie, maybe even Tulsi, Donald Trump's going to get a second term. Because none of them they've not got any policies. None of them. They've not got a policy. Not a policy that would actually help the people that they're trying to get the votes from. They've got a bunch of platitudes and then a bunch of shaming them into trying to get a. He's going to get a second term. God. All right, everybody. I'm going to get to bed. Thanks very much for tuning in. Please make sure you're subscribed and ring the bell below and yada, yada, yada. You know the drill. Peace, everyone. Good night. Take care.